This is a recording of Maynard D. Cole, 451 Southeast 8th Street, number 63, Homestead, Florida, 33030. He lives in a mobile home park named Aquarius. His phone number is area code 305-248-3270. The recording was made on January 14th, 1989 by Jim Walkinshaw of the Oldsmobile History Center at Maynard's home in Homestead. This is tape number 1 of 2 tapes. See, Maynard, if you could give us your name, address, and phone number, please.
Well, it's Maynard D. Cole.
All right.
And 451 Southeast 8th Street, Box 63, Homestead, Florida.
Okay. What's your zip code?
Zip code is 33030.
Okay. And your phone number?
Phone number is area code 305-248-3270.
Now, Maynard, if you could just start us with when you started at the plant and where you started.
Well, I started on April the 7th, 1941.
All right.
I had been working at the Michigan Sugar Beet.
Oh, yes.
In the fall and stuff like that, and they had made me a foreman of the sugar end of it, and I was working full time there.
Okay.
But there wasn't much money in it and like that, and so I went and put an application in at Oldsmobile and also at Motor Wheel.
Okay.
And dang if they both didn't call me on the same day.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. I give one of them to my brother-in-law. He said, man, he said, maybe I can use that Motor Wheel one. He had a friend that worked there, and I said, here, take it. And I went over to Oldsmobile.
Uh-huh.
And old McFarland was the employment
All right.
manager. And I sat there and stuff, and finally he says, who are you waiting for? I said, I'm waiting for start my job. And he said, well, okay. And I give him my name and stuff like that, and he said, oh yeah. He said, well, when can you go to work? And I said, right now. He said, well, he said, we've got a few things we ought to do first. And so anyway, that's I started that afternoon.
You did?
Yes.
Where was the employment office, Maynard?
The employment office was right there in
that old building 60?
the old building right out, you know where the main office and stuff is?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, it was in the basement and out on this side where that old gate goes in by the motor plant.
Yeah, okay, on the south
Right
side.
in that,
of the
right
building.
up in there,
Yeah.
side up in there is where
All
the,
right.
right where the
South side of
employment
building
office
60.
was.
Mhm. Okay.
And well, I went in there and I went back that afternoon and I went to work in the engine plant,
All right.
motor plant.
What were you doing down there?
I was a chip hauler.
Oh, okay.
I started out as a chip hauler, and so then of course I'm curious about different things. I used to watch these guys, you know, run their drill presses and different things that they were doing and stuff like that. But anyway, that's what I started out doing. And
Did you haul chips for the whole engine plant?
nope, just for the intake and exhaust manifold and cylinder heads.
All right.
They were mine.
Where were those in the building?
They were, as you came into the building, about, well, they were to the front end, more or less, not quite complete front,
All right.
but on your left, towards the railroad tracks,
Okay.
the railroad tracks that run on the north side.
Okay.
And they're right in that area, because that's where I had to haul the chips and stuff out with a solution and stuff in them
All right.
and dump them in these tanks.
All right.
And just down through there, that area, and on down below was a block floor and different things like that, the big homes for the blocks
Okay.
and cylinder blocks.
Where was engine assembly?
Engine assembly was, well, let's see, that run on down and over in further, that was further down and run on to the right.
Towards the river?
Yes.
Okay.
Down in towards the river part and ran up in there, and the 8 and 6-cylinder blocks and stuff come down, and then they run it down there. Now, before I actually got over on the engine assembly line in itself, they had redone it.
Oh, they have?
Yes, because during that time there, while I was there, then, you know, the war started and different things like that, and then I went in to start out in the 75 millimeter gun plant on midnights, and I ended up on setup and stuff because I had known all these, I had learned all the jobs.
Yeah.
Old Green was the setup man. I think his name was Elmer.
Elmer Green.
I think it was his name, and he was a setup man in that area when I went in there.
Okay.
And he wasn't bashful. I mean, he said, "Hey, hell, if you wanna learn what's going on here, you got time, do it." Well, I've had general foreman and stuff after that say to me, "How come you make a job look so damned easy?" I said, "I don't know." I said, "I haven't really found a hard one." You know, and I wasn't saying this to be smart.
Yeah.
I'm a farm boy.
Yeah. Used to working.
I'm used to working.
Yeah.
Working never really killed anybody.
Right.
But anyhow, I done the job, and I changed them a little bit enough to where I could handle them completely and do it right.
Maynard, what else were they making in the plant? Do you remember the other kinds of parts they were making?
Yes, they had a connecting rod.
All right. Cranks? Were they making cranks?
Cranks. At that, they did make them.
All right.
But they were forged at the forge plant.
All right. So how about the machining?
The machining of the cranks were, yes, they were done and balanced and stuff right in the plant.
All right, down in the engine plant.
Yeah, but I'm not too sure. I'm a little confused here. It's a long time ago.
Yes, I know.
And what I'm talking about here now is I know they were when we started that new rocket plant.
Yes, I'm thinking in terms of the old 6.
And the old 6 plant,
yeah.
I'm just not exactly sure.
All right.
Whether I don't really think.
Don't remember seeing any crank machines.
I don't think we done any crank machines. I think they were done someplace else. I'm not sure.
All right. So we were making blocks and heads and manifolds and rods.
Yes, and we done, of course, on here again, pistons and things like that. But this again, when we went into the rocket engine, we done all of that, right? You know, that was there, bang. And,
well, wait a minute. We'll get to
yeah.
that.
Well, anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Then you were there, and then the war came, and what happened to all that engine machinery?
Well, Jesus, they went and they changed the engine plant around, and I went over into this gun.
Okay, where was that? Would that have been in like building 36 or 38?
Well, that was up where the rocket engine plant is. That was on up to the front end. Up to the front end, kind of over to the west of us. Over to the west.
All right.
It might have been 36. I don't just recall.
But up in that place where the rocket engine went.
Right. I think right up in that area, there.
So we were making, what did you say, 75?
75 millimeters.
Cannons.
And they went on tanks actually.
All right.
They were tanks.
Was that all we were making in that building?
Well, we had the breeches too, you know, the tubes.
Okay, yeah.
Tubes and breeches, and as far as I know, that was it.
All right.
And then
did we actually put that together and made a gun out of it, did we?
I don't think we made the gun.
All right.
I don't believe we did. I never seen a completed gun there.
Okay.
We boxed them or racked them finished.
Yeah.
They were bored and stuff and finished, and we racked them and stuff and moved them out where we were at. That was, you know, they shipped them out. I think they were assembled. Now this is not true fact, but it seemed to me like they were assembled someplace in New Jersey.
All right. Maybe at an arsenal or something.
Yes,
Mhm.
but I wouldn't swear to it, Jim.
Okay, that's all right.
But this,
How were, Maynard, can you remember how called the working conditions, how were they in 41 and 2?
well, they were, I never had any real bad problem, but of course the union was getting started, you know.
Yes.
They had started, and all that stuff like that. And I'm just trying to remember my first foreman that I had, and I know his name, and I can't think of it, but he was in that department.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, oh, I'll tell you something. I said, if I'm in here a year from today, I said, doing this kind of crap, I said, I need my tail end kicked. Well, I was in there and I had done all that other and by that time, and I had done all this other business. I knew every job that was in there. I could set up the milling machines and everything else and everything, doing real good. And I'm over there straightening some stuff out in the gun and stuff like that. And man, I got a hell of a boot right in the butt.
Did you?
Yeah. I jumped over and I said, well, what do you think you're doing? He said, no, hold on. He said, you know what it is? He said, he named off the date and so on and so forth. He says, that's what you told me a year ago.
He remembered, huh?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. His name wasn't Knapp, and it wasn't Knapp, but I mean,
Yeah.
one of them that I got into after him was old Tiny. I don't, Christ, I can't even think of his last name.
All
He's
right.
a big old fellow.
Were most of the foremen, how did they treat their employees, Maynard?
Well, they
were they tough old guys?
well, it was when you went in there, the foreman told you that you do this, you do that, and that was it. You just done it.
All right.
If you didn't want to do it, if you didn't do it, he'd write your ass out and you're gone.
Uh-huh.
You're gone.
So it was I tell you what to do, go
Yeah,
do it.
right.
Uh-huh.
I mean, he was
Yeah. He was the boss.
absolutely.
Yeah. And you knew it.
Absolutely.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Absolutely. And I had worked for a couple other fellows that were like that. My dad, my grandpa, and I knew damn well that if I wanted to work, but I wasn't misused.
Yeah. Do you remember what you made when you started? How much you made?
Yeah. Now this is going to shock you. I made a hell of a pile of money. I think 37 cents an hour.
37 cents an hour.
37 cents an hour.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. And boy, I'm telling you, when I got out of there and got over into that other, got into setup,
Yeah.
stuff like that, I made $1.13.
Oh my goodness.
Oh
it made a
my
difference.
God, I'm telling you, I took home $43.10 a week. That's what I took home.
Uh-huh.
And I built a house on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bought my lot and built a house. I was married and I built a house. Wasn't a big elaborate one, but it was a nice little
Sure.
4-room bath
Yeah.
bungalow type house. It's still standing, in fact.
Did people have to wear safety glasses and those kinds of things in those days?
No,
Did not.
no. They didn't allow any smoking in the shop either.
What did people do?
Chewed,
Chewed. Oh boy.
snuff,
Ah,
and
yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or else they snuck off into the head.
Yeah.
Had some guy stand guard while they got a few drags and
Okay.
stuff like that went on and stuff like that. But that's
Yeah.
neither there. I didn't chew, and I didn't use snuff, and I sure cut down a lot on my smoking. You know.
Yeah. Did they have cafeterias or places to eat?
No. Later on, they had a canteen, but I think that was after. Yeah, hell yeah, that was after. Well, gosh, that was right about the time at the rocket engine plant.
All right,
like that.
much later than
A
that.
canteen, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, they had they didn't have any, no
Yeah.
cafeteria or
Yeah.
anything like that. We
Yeah.
carried lunches.
Okay.
Yeah, at least I did.
Where did you park?
Well, I parked right out there on the side right there, down there by the river, on
Okay.
that parking
That
lot
big
right in there, which is all covered with a building now.
Yes.
It's all covered with the
Yeah.
blocks, or the last I knew of blocks
Yeah.
or stuff. Well, I used to park down in there.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, that's where I parked. And
Were most of the machines, Maynard, did they have any big transfer machines, or were they all kind of did a single job sort of thing?
well, there was no transferring. As a machine, the transfer machine, as far as I knew back in them days, one of them was me.
Yeah, okay.
This old 8-cylinder block come down that line, and you was going to see about what went into it, and so on and so forth. You grabbed it, and you shoved it over across an open space like this here
Yeah.
to get it in there with a pivot, had a pivot thing. And the 6-cylinder was a lighter block,
Okay.
so it came down, and it had grabbed it and picked it up and set it over.
You actually picked the darn thing
Picked it up and set it over. I'd done it for hours and hours at a
Oh,
time.
my Lord.
Hours at a time.
Uh-huh.
I got to the point, not bragging anything like that, I could grab a 6-cylinder block and hold it right up.
Yeah.
But it's, that's,
Yeah, it's getting used to it again.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was,
Yeah.
But the transfers, when the automation came in, I'll tell you, I stood there goggle-eyed and everything else.
Uh-huh.
I says, well, it's working, but it ain't gonna. I said, there's lots of things gonna go wrong with this thing.
Yeah.
And of course, boy, the first time one of them little switches went out and it went sour, I said, there, see, I told you.
Yeah.
I told you I had one of them. But I'll tell you, it's unbelievable what they got today.
Oh, yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
But everything worked out, and then, of course,
Now, during the war, Maynard, were there a lot of ladies working in the plant?
well, I think during the war, I think they were. I mean, they were there when I came back.
Were they?
Yes.
Were they there before you left? Were there very many ladies in the plant?
Yes, there was a few.
Okay.
Hilda Christensen was one of them.
What kinds of tasks did they do? Did the ladies do?
They worked in the lighter stuff.
All right.
Hilda run the teletype.
Oh, okay.
Run the teletype, telling them about what pistons went into such blocks and stuff like that.
Okay.
And of course, I was relief man and stuff on the reliability part of this here thing too, like that. So I done the same thing eventually. Now this sort of stuff run on over. I keep confusing the two.
All right. Yeah.
You know,
Understand. Yeah.
and things like that, because once they got a call, said, well, the big line, we're ready to start her,
Uh-huh.
which is the rocket engine,
Yeah,
and that
yeah.
was all the rage.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'll tell you, one hell of an engine. One real engine, boy. That was a dandy.
See, now, Maynard, after the war, then we were still building the old 6 and 8, weren't we? The old straight 8 and the old 6?
Yeah, you did.
For a few years then.
Yeah. In fact, I came back and bought a new 76
Yeah.
4-door.
Yeah.
Jesus, that was, I thought, boy, I'll tell you, that's really something. That's a car, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that was a nice one. Yeah, 1947.
And then the rocket engine came to pass. Now, you mentioned that you had perhaps been the first.
As far as the rocket engine line,
Yeah.
was actually up and running,
Yeah.
there was no production. Every block, every engine went down that line was put on there and hand built.
Okay.
I was the first inspector
All right.
in that rocket engine plant,
Okay.
irregardless of what anybody else tells you.
Yeah.
I'm telling you that I was the first reliability inspector in that plant.
What did you have to do?
I run tests right up from the time when that engine was started being put together. I checked the side play on the rods and the piston pins and the tightness for torques and everything like that, and torques on the con rods and
All
things,
right.
and on the cylinder heads and everything. It all had to be done like that. And when they got her up and they set her into the test stand up there, I fired her up and checked her out there.
So you kind of had to follow that baby right
I
down the line.
followed that baby right from scratch egg right up to finish.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yep.
Now, did they have a lot of air wrenches on that line, or was that mostly manual stuff?
No, we had we had power wrenches.
All right.
Now you're referring to the rocket.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. That went modern.
All right.
That went modern. We had power wrenches more than what we did manual, but all of the checking
Yeah, was by hand.
was by hand.
Yeah.
Had set torque wrenches
Yeah.
to know what the hell
Yeah.
torque was. It was a hand job, and that's the way that you had to do it.
When you went back, if you go back to the old 6 and straight 8 engine assembly line, did that have air wrenches and those kinds of things, or was that?
They had some.
All right.
They had some, but everything up there had belts. They were pulleys.
Yeah.
That old motor plant, engine plant was full of
Overhead shaft.
overhead shafts and belts and pulleys and stuff running stuff.
Okay.
The pictures that I got show that.
Yeah. All right.
Boy, I mean, it's
So it was a lot of just single-purpose machines that were running
yes,
over there.
yes.
All right.
I'm telling you, I just couldn't hardly believe it was in an engine plant when I seen that new rocket engine plant, because they wouldn't let you in there and just wander around.
They would during the installation while they were
Yes,
putting the machinery in. Huh?
Yes. I had a neighbor that was an electrician, and he worked on electrical stuff. His name was Delater, and he couldn't even get insurance.
Really?
No, he could not get insurance at all. He worked under such voltages and electric stuff, and everything an Oldsmobile had, he was in there on that, and it was hot.
Yeah.
One little miscue,
Oh yeah.
and I'm telling you, he done his tools and stuff like that, and I've seen the ends burnt right off of his wire cutters.
Covers, yeah.
And just gone.
Yeah.
I mean, but anyhow, they
Can you remember back to what some of what I will call startup problems were? What kind of difficulties you were having in the plant with that new engine?
well, there were numerous problems.
There aren't anything.
There were many problems, but there didn't seem to be anything. Probably I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to say it because it's the truth.
And the truth is.
And the truth is the
whatever
truth.
It is, right.
And I got a reprimand for it. I went right up to the reliability part in the rocket engine plant,
Yeah.
and I started their reliability, quality control charts, things
Okay.
like that.
Sure.
Then we had problems. It seemed like they couldn't maintain the correct torques and stuff on their rod there. They get in the test room, you'd get loose knockers and stuff
Oh,
like
yeah,
that, things. And I said, well, I can tell you why. And I wrote him a note.
Who
We had a production foreman.
Oh, a foreman? Okay.
Would you like his name?
Oh, you can, yeah, sure, if you know
His
it.
name was Whitney.
Whitney.
Yeah, from Grand Ledge.
Yeah.
Damn him, he'd let his guys come in there and they'd turn their pressure down.
Oh,
Just like this here.
So
Made it
go
quick.
very
Instead of
fast.
bringing it up, it just like that.
Yeah.
Stall out quicker.
Yeah.
Wasn't getting the torque on them. And I'd come in and find them down like that, and I'd just raise, holy hell.
Yeah.
Well, Starneman was the head of the reliability group at that time.
Okay.
He also didn't know enough to back up a man.
Hmm.
Hell, no, I'm telling you, I'm not gonna.
Oh, I know. It's the fact.
That's all that I'm dealing with. I'm not dealing with anything and trying to cut anybody's goddamn throat or nothing. I'm telling you the facts. And just because I wrote Whitney a note and told him to leave his damn hands off of the air and make sure that his people done the same damn thing and leave it at that, that it's in perfect shape when his shift started. And I had broken another guy that was working and it went over and we was doing it on both shifts, see? So he got teased, so he went up to see his boss. I think Freddie Webb was his boss that time, and general foreman, you know.
Yeah.
Well, he went in, seen mine, and my general foreman was Lou Booz.
Okay.
And you know Lou?
No, I do not.
You don't know Lou?
No.
Well, Lou Booz, and of course he retired while I was still there. But anyway, God damn, and Starman told Lou, he says, you get that Cole in there, you give him some time off. He ain't gonna say them sort of things. Well, I said, suit yourself, don't make a damn bit of difference to me. If that's what they want to do. I said, all I'm dealing with is the damn truth.
Yeah.
So it went on, and I went home for the balance of the day.
Yeah.
Went home, told my wife, I said, I'm here for the balance of the week anyway, I guess. She said, well, what's happened? I said, oh, just a little misunderstanding down the shop. Nothing to worry about. I wasn't worried about it. Because I had an idea they were going to pay me. I really did. I knew they were going to pay me because it was wrong as hell.
Yeah, it sounds like
And I could prove it. So anyway, that's neither here nor there. But we went to the procedure and my phone rang. And my foreman, Jim Kimball, said, Maynard, he said, I want you to come into work tomorrow morning. Hell, I said, I ain't had any rest yet. Yeah, that's all right. He said, you come on into work. He said, you ain't got to have any more time off. He said, you lost an hour and a half, he said, yesterday afternoon. I said, you better get somebody out, figure out some way or another to get that on my paycheck, Jim. I said, I'm not going to stand for that. I said, evidently somebody knows they're wrong or else they wouldn't be doing these things. You know, like they done.
Sure.
And I wasn't pro-union to the fact to where I wanted to make trouble.
Oh, sure.
But I was to the fact that I knew damn well what I felt was right.
Yep.
As far as I was concerned, and
Sure.
that's all.
Yeah.
And that's the way that I run my departments afterwards. I read every contract we ever gave out to the union. I read every one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I knew what our bylaws was and so on and so forth and what we could do and what we couldn't. And I had committee men working for me.
Yeah.
I didn't have any problems with them.
Yep.
I didn't have any problems with them. But anyway, so I went on up to there and then they said, well, how would you like to go on supervision?
Okay.
In the meantime, I had already been an hourly foreman. They put me on as an hourly foreman.
They had hourly foremen.
They had hourly foreman.
Oh,
I got paid 25 cents an hour more than my highest paid people that was in the
all
group.
right. And you did foreman kinds of jobs.
Hmm?
You were the boss of a group.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
In
Okay.
other words, I had the gauge crib.
Mm-hmm.
And now this is on reliability.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll start up the front end. We had the post inspection line of the finished motors, the
All right.
inspectors on there,
Yeah.
had the test room.
All right. That was up at the north end too.
That was up at the north end.
All right.
And then we came on down the line, down through there where they put in, finally they put on, the last thing they put in, you know, was the spark plugs
Yeah.
and the cylinder heads, and
Yeah.
on down below then where they'd put in the rods and the pistons
Yeah.
and the inspection and stuff on them.
Okay.
And then from that on down, ways of the back end down there, we had balancing machines for crankshafts.
All right.
The crankshafts, that's where we balance all of our crankshafts.
Okay.
We had them down in there, and the ladies over in the piston department, where the finished pistons come through, wash, weighed, and everything, and they check them out.
Right.
That was all mine. Just like the fellow worked opposite of me was a salaried supervisor,
Okay.
and they said we want to put you on salary.
See, Maynard, was that whole plant inside of that one group of buildings, 36, 38? They got everything in there, pistons and rods and all of that stuff?
Yeah, that's where the final parts of the piston stuff, the pistons and stuff actually though, were more manufactured over in where the old engine plant used to be.
All right, towards the east over
Yeah.
there, towards the river.
Yes, that's
All right.
where they done
The piston
that's
machine.
where they done the pistons and stuff over there.
How about the rods? Were they
The
done-
rods were done up towards the front end a little bit more and over
Okay,
over that way, and then on up above them was the water pumps.
okay.
Up ahead of them was the water pumps.
All right,
That's
that's all in
department
36
there.
and 38.
I had nothing to do with the water
All right.
pumps.
And the block line was there
The
too?
block line, yes, but the block line was
Up towards
we
the-
nailed that. We nailed
Yeah.
that back
Yeah.
back in further, you know.
Yeah. And the head floor was there?
The head floor was
Maybe between those?
no, wait a minute. That head floor. I'm just trying to think. That head floor had going down in through there. God damn it! There's something in. Yes, I think the head floor was in between these
Yeah.
pumps and stuff, and they're down in that.
In between the block
Yeah.
line and the...
I think so.
pumps.
I think it was.
All right.
I think it was.
Okay. Do you remember how fast the assembly line would go or was going?
Well, I've known of it running 100 and.
Okay, we're back on. How fast do you remember the line going?
Well, now you're referring to the final,
Yeah,
as far as what the final.
pedestal line or whatever you called it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I'll tell you, it varied. It varied.
All
But
right.
most of the time, I'd say we averaged right up around. Oh Lord, between 90 and 100, right
All
in
right.
that. I mean, it moved along.
Yeah.
But you know, we had better luck. We had better luck and a better job done with a higher production rate.
Okay.
When you cut it down, you know, then you had to add some jobs in here and onto some others
Yes.
to break it down, and that's when you run into troubles.
Yeah.
And that's plant wide.
Uh-huh.
I ended up over in the final area, all over in that
Yeah,
area and
yeah.
all stuff, and hell. I run that audit department up there for,
Oh, did you?
yeah,
We'll
BOP
get,
and
we'll
that.
get to that in a minute.
Oh.
That's okay. What, the engine plant thing, how long did you stay there then working in the engine plant, Maynard?
Oh, Lord. Well, I was in there, and I went to this foreman training
All right.
program in '58.
All right. Was that a thing they sent all guys that were going to become foremen too?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they started a program like that, and
Yeah.
I went to that, and of course when I got through that, I was the first ones to go on. I mean,
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
went on, and so but prior to that, when they went to put me over on to go on for that way back in that, I don't know when it was, 53, somewhere around in there,
All
stuff
right.
like that. They found out that I had all these scars from tuberculosis and stuff
Yeah.
in there where it had
Yeah.
acted up on me, and so I had to go out to the sand. I was out there a year.
So you were actually off work for a period of time?
Yes,
Mhm.
yes. And then they wouldn't let me work. I was off for a little over 2 years.
Were you? Uh-huh.
Yeah. And that didn't. I had a picture here. That's a picture of me laying in the sand when our own Ted and Lou Booze come out
Oh, yeah. Neat.
to see me, and like that. But anyhow,
Yeah.
I never was sick while I was out
Yeah,
there. But I mean,
it was just that.
hell, I mean, you know.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. Well, that's just that
Yeah,
one of them that I
yeah.
run through, and
Yeah.
he brought me out a suggestion award.
Oh,
There.
okay.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, what, did the suggestion program existed then?
Oh, they had them. I told him, I said, I'm not eligible. You can't give me no suggestions.
Uh-huh.
I said, I can. Yes, he said, we can. We can give you this one here. He says, we didn't get your name on that line yet. He said,
Yeah.
we can do it.
Yeah.
I said, well, okay, you know. So, yeah, the suggestion.
When you first started, was that there in 40?
Oh no,
No
no,
suggestion
no,
program.
no.
All right.
That thing never popped up the way back in Well, sometime after the
war.
Well, yeah, after the war and after the, after the rocket engine
rocket
plant
started.
and different things like that.
All right.
Before that thing got to going.
All right.
And that was a very good idea. A very good idea. They made a pile of money off of that thing.
Well, and they got a lot of good ideas.
Yeah, they did. Just because the guys out there doing some little thing don't mean that he don't have some good ideas.
You bet. You bet.
Yeah. Those things. So that's about it. Then I just went from there onto this. They wanted me to troubleshoot. That's when I left the engine plant as doing anything in there.
All right.
And went to the final, checked and see what problems they had with our engines.
All right.
Anything that they had with our engines over there, stuff like that. And I brought that information back to the engine plant.
Okay.
And then we corrected it.
Okay. What kinds of things? Do you remember what kinds of things might have been
Well,
different?
most of the time you'd find out that it was human related.
Okay.
I mean, somebody just didn't tighten the bolt.
All right.
Or they cocked the part on a little bit some way or another, and they didn't set and seal right, or
All right.
something on that order.
Okay.
Every once in a while, you'd get a transmission that just you couldn't make it work. Period.
Okay.
And hell, they'd have to go inside it, but that wasn't ours. But it went on our motor.
Yeah. But that wasn't done in the engine plant, was it? The transmission didn't get assembled there.
That done in the final.
Done on power car.
Done in the final area.
All right.
But they'd have trouble with it. They'd yell for me.
Oh yeah.
I'd go down there and I said, "The engine run?" "Yeah." "Good. Put another transmission on it." "Hell," I said, "That's
Yeah. Yeah.
But then I done that, and they said, "Well, they put me on well, I went to this school, and this
Okay.
is a funny thing.
All right.
This is something that's, it kind of, I got a little bit of a chuckle out of it after I thought it over. But I went to the forge plant.
Oh.
I'd never been in a forge plant.
All right.
But I went over there, and by God, I said, this looks like it's interesting. And here they were forging out our cranks. Boy, the old big old block of white hot steel coming down there, bang, wham, wham,
Okay.
wham. And I mean automatic, and it comes out, and there's a crank rough.
Yeah.
Runs right down there. This old bugging machine picks it up and rolls it down the roller and goes down there, and it cools off. And oil dip, so on and so forth. The next thing you know, Jesus Christ, they get out there and they rough balance it.
Yeah.
They rough balance it, get it through like that, and then they they put it over to plant 3
All
over
right.
there and finish it off,
Okay.
to where it's then we get it to the engine plant to where we fine balance it. We put it in there and make sure that baby is right on. So, I mean, that was a rough part, and I'll be damned if when I got through that school, the forge plant wanted me.
Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Uh-huh.
They said, right now, they said, we want coal. I said, why in the world would they want me? Reliability put me
Yeah.
through this, and they were talking production.
Yeah.
And so, Bud Miller,
Oh yes, I remember Bud.
yeah, well, he was ahead of her.
Yeah.
Well, I said, what do you want of me? He said, we got an area out here, he said, that we have not had production in over 2 years.
All right.
He said, now we make, they figure you get 95%, they'll buy that.
Yeah.
96, hell, flat ass perfect.
Yeah.
But you get, I said, but anyway, 90, he said, we haven't had it. He said, we've crowded 90, 92 once in a while, but mostly we're down in the 80s.
What were they making?
They were making bell housings.
Oh, okay.
They were making crankshafts.
Oh, it's a whole bunch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they were making the rods.
All right.
Rough, I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
Rough. They were hammering the stuff out and
Yeah.
stamping it out. That's
Yeah.
what they were making. Everything for the rocket engine.
Yeah.
Well, he said, you interested? I said, well, God, I said, sure. He said, you're going on salary, Now, he said, this is production. Elmer Cole, did you know him?
Sure did.
Okay, Elmer Cole. He told him, he said, hell, you can't have him. Maynard is ours.
Oh.
But have you got him signed up? He said, well, we put him in the class. We're going to sign him up. He said, I've already signed him up. Well, Elmer said, we'll see about that.
Uh-oh.
So one thing led to another, and I didn't know this was going on.
Yeah.
All at once, I got called up and wanted to know if I could come over to the main plant. And so I said, yeah. Sure, I came in early. I went over to the main plant. Well, Ed Gerke,
Yep.
okay, Ed Gerke and Elmer Cole, they were there, and they said, well, we understand that the Ford, plant 4 over there, want to hire you. Well, I said, that's just what I just heard, that they want to hire me. And they said, well, what do you think about it? And I said, well, I'll tell you something. It looks to me, I'm not fooling anybody. I know nothing about forging.
Yeah.
But I said, I didn't see anything over there that I don't think that I couldn't handle, that I couldn't acquaint myself with enough to know whether it was right or wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, it sure does look interesting. They said, well, what's the money? I said, well, Bud didn't tell me what the money was. Well, Elmer says, you know, he says, we've got you set for a good salary, you know, right here to get started. I said, yeah. Well, I said, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. So he said, we're thinking about starting you at $500 a month. Well, hell, now you take back that was in 1960.
Okay.
That wasn't too bad of money.
No.
It was enough to where I bought groceries and stuff.
Sure, oh yeah.
And so they like that, and I said, well, I'm going back. I said, it isn't strictly all the money thing to me, but I said, I got to be honest with you, Ed. I was talking to Ed on.
Yeah.
I got to be honest with you. I said, it sure does look interesting to me. I said, I'm just itching to try it a little bit. Well, he said, I'll tell you. He said, if you decide that you want to go, stuff like that, he says, I'll speak a good word for you.
Oh,
He
yeah.
said, we're not gonna knock you down just
Yeah.
because. I said, well, I don't know what to do. I said, I suppose, you know, if they had something for me, you guys, and some said, well, we've got a job. We could put you to work. And I said, well, why in the hell don't they? Well, he said, that's a good question. So anyway, I went back over there. Bud said, hey, said, I hear you, the main plant wanted you to see. And I said, yep. He said, well, he said, good. He said, no, he said, did they make you an offer? And I said, yep. He said, was it a good one? I said, I thought it was pretty good. Good. But he said, I'll tell you one thing. He said, I'm ready to put you to work. He said, officially put you to work effective 1st of last week. That was the 1st of the month.
Yeah.
We're in about the 10th or 12th day of the month.
Okay.
Effective back there, he said, for $650 a month.
Oh, wow.
That's just your straight 40
Yeah, oh,
time. I said, $650. He said, yep. Effective then. He said, all you got to do, put your John Henry right on there, Maynard. He said, you're my man. He said, and that's all. He said, there's nothing, no catches. You get no bad talk, no time, no for nothing.
Yeah.
He said, Mac, down here, the guy that you went around and worked your 6 weeks with in through here, he says, to me, he said, Bud, he said, you better get him. And I'll tell you, he said, he's a sharp young man. Well, I said, hell. You know, I appreciated the fact that they thought that, but I thought, well, you know, you're getting so much stuff anyway. I said, well, I'll tell you, that's better than they offered me. I said, I'm going with you. Come up and he on the back, and I mean, he said, good. Signed her right there like that. He said, and it was only, I think about 3 days before payday.
Yeah.
You get paid twice a month on salary.
Right.
And about 3 days, I think, before payday. And all the time that I had been working going training and stuff through there. And in fact, I was just wiping it up. My training period there.
Finishing up.
Never had a chance to get back to get straightened out, nothing like that. Word went right on out. It went out official and stuff went through there, and a notice went out through the shop that I went over to Plant 4, that I new supervisor in Plant 4. Well, Elmer Coley come over and he says, "My land." Dale Redburn, you knew him too,
sure,
didn't you?
yes.
Yeah.
Very well.
I worked for Dale for a while, and but anyway, we got along fine. And
So you were over there then?
I was over there about a year.
Okay.
About a year, and finally.
And you had the department that was making rods and cranks and all that stuff?
Upsetters, hammers, trip hammers, board hammers.
Yeah.
Yeah, heck yeah, and I mean, hey. And the thing of it is, the thing that amazed me was the fact that the guy, now you can wipe stuff off of this, right?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, sure.
Because I'm going to use, well, the guy
That's
just...
all right. I mean, that's part of the...
The guy over there told me, they said, you know something? He said, for a man that would come in here and admit to us, I'm talking about my hammer crews.
Yeah.
My crews. There's anywhere from 3 to 6 men in a crew at each one of them big jobs.
Yeah.
You'd come in there and say, "Look, fellas, I don't know your job. All I can see is what you're doing." And I said, all that I'm counting is the pieces that comes up and out on the teller that comes down and sees what it's on.
Yeah.
Now, if you got downtime and it's legal downtime, you tell me you got downtime on the legal downtime, and by God, I said, I will pay you for it. You get paid for it.
Yeah.
You ain't got to bust your ass to make it up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I will pay you for it. Mac told me, he said, that's the best thing you can do. He said, the other guys that have been in here just tried to screw. He said, well, you can get out there instead of you guys getting 6.5 hours to change the dies and everything in an upsetter that's cracked,
Yeah.
you know, and busted out and stuff like that. Hey, well, if you can get her set, you know, in a couple hours, I'll give you 4.5 hours. You read, boy, I mean, they get them in 2 hours, and I mean, they're running.
Mm-hmm.
They're running. They're putting out parts. I had a hell of a time. I told him, I said, Jesus Christ, slow down. They were running. I'd building stock ahead. I had production, so goddamn much production ahead over there, they didn't know what to do with it.
Isn't that something?
Yeah. The guy, they said, well, we're going to take it, eat one guy. One guy there, you know, every damn outlaw, anyway, that damn joker. I called him the robber.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, he says, you know what tomorrow is, boss? They all called me boss. I said, yeah, I know what tomorrow is. He said, what is it? I says, it's your boss day.
Uh-huh.
Right. He said, and man, am I going to get you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I said, okay, but you know, you ain't going to get no cherry.
Yeah.
I said, hell, I've been around, you know, doing all this. I'll do one thing, I'll do another, and I'll be damned. They'll come in, and they no sooner, they wasn't running an hour. They hadn't run an hour. And a great big crank die that had just been put in, the die setters had set it in and all up. And one of them left the bottom left hand lug slide bolt loose. Went down in there, and she put up with it for pretty near an hour.
Yeah.
All on she just kinked a little bit, and boy, you heard that die crack all over that forge, and that forge is noisy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Bing! That sucker went. So anyway, I said, I'll tell you something. If you crack that die just to get me, Robert, I said, man, oh man, am I going to hang you.
Uh-huh.
I said, the man in the moon is going to have to look up to see you as I'm going to hang you. Oh, he said, well, I'll tell you, he said, I didn't. Honest to God, I said, I know that you didn't. Hell, I said, you're not that stupid. We got to look around and found out what it was. Well, every one of them dug in right there where the guys checking, pulling and stuff like that. little under 4 hours, they had that big die out. Over there, another die set in. The die, the welder, welded up and had to put a couple of new little beads and stuff in it to build it up and grind it down to fit it, to make it right. I'll tell you, in a little over 5 hours she was running. Well, the downtime that I recall on that particular job is one complete shift. That's an 8-hour downtime. And in a little over 5 hours they had her running. A little under 5 hours they had her running. So they come up and even in them, I know in that 3 hours and stuff that they had left and that like that, they made half a day's production.
Yeah. Pretty good buy.
Man, I give them a half a day's production and 2 hours production on the next day.
Yeah.
And I had all kinds of stock out here to give them.
Yeah.
And word came down. Bud says, what in the hell are you doing down there, Maynard? I said, why? He says, boy, he said, one thing about it, he said, Cole and Gerke and them guys over there sure showed you how to push a pencil. I said, well, hell yes. I said, isn't that the secret of success? And he said, well, he said, I don't know, but he said, hell, he said, you're making production. I said, well, yeah, some days. I said, I've got a couple 94s, 95s occasionally. I just wouldn't put in enough. I had them. I just did. But he said, hell. He said, well, he said, I don't know. He said, I've got more stock, he said, out there in the stockyard and guns and on racks and stuff out there than I've ever seen out there. And he said, they're all they are. He said, they're out of the presses and die setters and dies and stuff, upsetters, things like that. He said, they haven't been machined.
Yeah.
So he said, I know where they're coming from, by Jesus.
Yeah.
He said, I said, that's my bank. So I know it. He said, and that's all right, boy.
Yeah.
That's all right. Well, it added up, and he wasn't above giving a little bonus.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I wasn't up at that time eligible for bonuses.
No,
As far as
right,
I was,
right.
but still. But anyway.
What did you have your most trouble with, Maynard, there in the Ford shop? What machinery was the most difficult to keep running?
Board hammers.
Oh, the board hammers? That's interesting. How come?
They're small and fast.
Yeah.
They're small and fast. I would say overall the board hammers. You can get boards in them, and that's exactly what they are. You know what a board hammer is.
Oh, sure, I was there.
Yeah, okay. And lasts forever.
Yeah.
And you can get them one right after another like that, and set it up like that, and I'm telling you, you run it for 3 hours and it's down 3, and you run it for 3 and it's down 3. You run it for 2 and it's down 4, and like that there, and then again maybe it'll run for months.
Was it the boards that were causing trouble, or the wood part, or?
And it seemed like that we had problems. Mac, he told me, he said, you know, he says, I can't understand it. He said, this is prime hard maple.
Yeah.
He said, God, he said, look at the grains and stuff, and it's beautiful, you know.
Yeah.
And yet it just doesn't hold up.
What did it do? Chew it up?
Yeah, it puts it, and you know,
splits the board.
it just puts it, trays it, and you know, and splits it, and hell, I've seen them, you know, just like that, and looked, and there goes half of a board going right up in the air.
Yeah.
See? And like I say, I've never run one of them.
Yeah.
I never run one of them. So I mean, but the guys, they said I thought that was somebody walked up there. But the guys that worked them told me, they said, you know, the thing of it is that stand right up to them.
Yeah.
Don't back off.
Yeah.
Don't give that stuff that's going to fly any chance to get you. Right up here is the best place to be.
Yeah.
Then of course I had another advantage. I had a buddy of mine that lived next door to me out there in Shasburg, and we had from the time we were 14 years old on, we'd done everything. He married a cousin of mine, and we hunted together, we fished together, we took a drink now and then together, so on and so forth,
Yeah.
everything, that stuff. And he worked at the Atlas Drop Forge.
Oh, okay.
And I tell you,
Yeah.
he was a hammerman deluxe.
Uh-huh.
His daddy was a hammerman. Old Lee Wright was his daddy, and this guy I'm referring to is Keith Wright. And he made supervision over there at Atlas and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you know, if I had a little bit of anything, you know, and I was just a little curious about it, I talked to Keith.
Oh, yeah, sure.
He said, oh hell, he said, such and such, you know,
Mhm.
stuff and what'll happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and that helps.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
You know, you got somebody that knows a little bit about it.
Now, did you have presses at that time?
Presses, yes.
As well as...
We had big roll presses. Yeah, we had presses over there. At the bar, like on the cranks.
Yeah, were you pressing cranks?
Yes.
Yeah, rather than drop forging.
Drop forging them, right.
Okay.
We drop forged mostly the connecting rods,
All right.
bell housings, you know,
Yeah.
stuff like
Yeah.
that. The parts and the pressure plates, things like that. There,
Yeah.
and things like that come out. The cast parts, I don't know, the way the stuff come out, and then of course,
See,
I don't know, they made a lot.
axle shafts too, didn't you?
Pardon?
Axle shafts?
Oh, yes, axle shafts, yes.
Knuckles, that kind of stuff?
Yep, all the cast stuff that we done, General Motors, you know,
Yeah.
stuff we done a lot. We done a lot of stuff for Buick,
Did you?
Pontiac, and Cadillac.
All right.
Yep,
Uh-huh.
yep. Just like when we had a steering column line and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Hell, we done all of them there for them too.
Okay.
But that's, yeah, we
Now, can you remember what was where in the building there?
what was where?
Yeah.
Do you mind if I turn that light
Oh,
on?
that's fine.
Well, yeah, they had, of course, out there where the hammers were,
Yeah, building 207.
everything like that,
Yeah,
and the presses. They had big overhead cranes, you know,
yeah,
run out there,
yeah.
and that guy sits up there. He hauls this stuff up and out and different things out and things. And he's a pretty good magician. The guy that sits up there and runs that outfit. And the way that I recall it, of course, is you come through the gate.
Yeah,
We park just outside the gate.
all right.
We come through the gate and in.
In the die room there.
Yeah. And then you come down to turn there to the left a little bit and walk down in there. Then my office was just in here on the right.
Okay, just
There.
as you came into the hammer shop.
Yeah, it was the hammer shop was. We had a row of hammers here, and here was the office.
Okay,
Right over here was a whole row of upsetters.
all right.
Had some big presses here, and we had big presses back here. But we had, I'm just trying to think where they had this down below. Down in here someplace, they had, where they had the fire, they put in these great big long 4x4 pieces of steel.
Okay, for the
Yeah,
cranks.
yeah, for the cranks, and they run it in there to fire it. And then that would fire up and it'd come through, and it'd come through automatically.
Okay,
And it'd go into this first press, and that would crack that sucker off, you
yeah,
know.
yeah.
Take it off in there, and then pick it up, roll it up, and roll it down, and shove it into another press. When it hit in there, your man didn't do nothing with it.
Yeah,
Right there, the switches would take it. She'd come down and hit her, bang, and preform a part right there, spring back up off of it. And when it spring back up over it, it'd kick it out and go over, and it flopped it and another half a turn or such a matter, and come down again,
okay.
and do some more on it.
Yeah,
And so when it come out, it was a rough crank.
yeah,
And then from then on out, it had to
yeah, sure.
be
Machine
another work
eventually,
stuff
yeah.
done on it. But that was down. And I was just trying to think. We had a big storage area down there, guns and stuff, and oh Lord. And the other
So
thing.
you had shears in there too, didn't you?
What?
Shears where you sheared?
Yeah,
pellets?
they had shears in there to cut all the roll stock.
Those were down there by the steel yard, weren't
Yes.
they? Yeah, on that
Yeah, the
side?
steel on the outside where the steel rod come in,
Yeah.
and the roll stock and stuff, and they had big
Yeah.
shears. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Cut all that roll stock.
Yeah.
I didn't have much to do with that.
Yeah.
You know, mine was more of the cast steel and stuff
hot
like
stuff.
that. Yeah, the hot stuff.
Yeah. Did anybody ever have a hunk of that hot iron land on them?
No, not in mine. I've had some of the boys that it's hit them. Of course, they make sure that their cuffs and stuff are all inside and all bound up and everything like that. And burn their overalls or their whatever. And goddamn, they wear 3 or 4 pairs of them.
Did they?
Stand right up there, and I'm telling you. And of course, they don't really step up in there until they get to sweating.
Yeah.
When they get to sweating, the big air, the fans, wet fans.
Yeah.
They got. I've seen some of them. I don't know how legitimate it was, but they had a little leak up here. You know.
Yeah. Water.
And it come down, just a little fine spray.
Yeah.
Down like that, and of course they had glasses and everything on, but it didn't seem to bother them. The guy, the feeder, grabbed the old son, threw it in there, the old guy run there, and bang, 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 on down. Another guy take it and does something else with it, and I'll tell you, they were all men. Yeah. They were all men. Jesus Christ. Yeah. I seen them, their arms and stuff, they just like that, and just move their hand, and the muscles would just stand right out in their arms and stuff, And,
How long did you stay there then, Maynard?
I was there about a year.
A year.
Yeah, I was there a year, and they finally decided that they could pay, if they could pay me money over there, and of course I got a raise or two.
Right.
Bud gave me another raise or two while I was there, and he said, if they get you, he said, they're going to have to pay for you.
Ah.
I said, well.
This is a recording of Maynard D. Cole of Homestead, Florida. The recording was made on January 14th, 1989 by Jim Walkinshaw of the Oldsmobile History Center. This is tape number 2 of 2 tapes. Then Maynard, you stayed there for a year.
Yeah.
And then you went back to inspection?
Then I went back to the main plant.
All right.
And I went into the axle plant area there, and the plating.
Building 21 and 78 then?
Yep.
Okay.
And it's on reliability.
Okay. Who were you working for then?
Bill,
Bill, I can think of his figure.
Oh no, the old fella, my God. Oh Lord.
No, that's okay.
My land. I can see every one of the guys, and some of them I can't.
The names don't come
The
back.
names just don't roll back.
That's
That's another thing. I've never been back to the shop.
Oh, really?
I've never been back. No.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at anyone.
No.
But I mean, I drove up there one time to, I thought, well, I'll go in. The guy says, you can't get in. I still got my gold badge,
Oh, sure, you're no badge. Yeah.
Oh, gold badge. He said, you can't get in. I said, I can't. No, he said, you gotta call somebody and give you a pass or something like that. Stick it in your ass. That's what they have to do now?
Yeah, they did change it. Yeah. Or you go in through plant protection.
Go in through plant protection.
Yeah. It does take a little bit of fooling.
Are they down in the basement there like they
still
used to
down
be?
in the basement. Yeah,
Yep.
same place. What were you doing then out in building 21 and 78, Maynard?
Well, let's see. 21 and 78.
plating an axle?
Now I'm just trying to think now. Christ, what was I doing there? Hey, what was we talking about?
You had just left the forge plant and gone over there.
Oh, yes. Well, that's what I mean. I went in there and, the plating inspection down that back part there.
Yeah.
Stores one.
All right.
Stores one and
The dock
stores,
there.
yep, the dock. And the axle plant
Okay.
inspection. In through there. And they put in a steering column
All right.
assembly area in there, and they throwed that in too.
Okay.
Then on top of all that, then they, of course, had the tornado line down through there.
Okay.
Yeah, they wanted to get in on that, so first thing you know, hell, I was involved in all of it.
All right.
I was involved in all of it, and
Well, what were they making in the axle plant at that time when you started? When
they
you
were,
came back?
they were putting together axles.
The rear axle?
Yes, they
Okay.
were putting rear axles together.
All right.
Yep. But they finally took that all out, you know, and put it over in plant
Three.
in the
Jet plant.
huh?
In the jet plant.
Well, yeah, but before they done that, it was in the forge.
Okay.
They done it in the forge plant before it went to the jet plant.
All right.
Yep. I had a son-in-law that he said, "How come you guys put them over there and send them over here?" And I said, "Well, why not?" Well, I said, "You got to have something to do."
Were you making machining knuckles and front suspension parts in 21 at that time?
No, I didn't have anything to do with them.
All right.
I didn't have nothing to do with them.
But you had a steering column assembly, you mentioned.
Yeah, we had that for a couple years.
That must have been that F85 steering
Yeah.
column.
Yeah, the one that
little
shoved up
aluminum
and down
engine.
and moved
Yeah, right.
around. And we made it for us and somebody else.
Yeah.
I forget what it was, and oh, what a pain.
Was it? What was the problem with that?
Jesus, just everything.
Didn't go together?
It just, yeah, it'd go together, but I mean, it didn't look right going together, and I don't think it worked right.
Huh.
I mean, they had some. I drove some of the cars that had them in. They was all right, but they seemed to have there was a little drag or something there, somewhere or another.
Yeah.
Do it, yeah. Of course, they're a lot smoother now. I don't know
Oh,
who's
yeah.
making them now.
I don't know either.
But anyway, it was too much to put in there.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it was just too much.
Yeah.
Too much stuff. And then we from out of there, and then oh darn, Bill, he got sick and stuff, and I took his place, and the general foreman, and had the other part. Finally, they wanted me to take the tornado line stuff over, and
The
I
whole,
took,
the whole assembly line?
yeah,
Uh-huh.
and I took that, and
Okay.
then eventually I went on over to final, learned all that stuff up through there.
Now, just a minute. Back up on the Toro for a
Yep,
minute.
okay.
The Toro, where did that start?
Where did it start?
Yeah, where did the assembly line start there?
Right where it used to be the old final assembly.
Okay,
The
like
old final
Yeah.
assembly. As you come in,
building 20 there.
well, yeah, where your plant protection
Yeah,
downstairs.
right up above it.
Yeah, right up above it, right there.
All right.
Right there. That's where they put it in at.
That's where it started.
And the bodies went right up in the
Yeah.
old body part there, and
Yeah.
come down around, and
And then it went on straight south, right
Yep.
down the middle of that building.
yep,
Okay.
yep. Well, right out down through there. That's where it went.
What, you remember where the test roll was?
Hmm?
Where was the test roll?
The test roll was, down the line, the assembly line, and then, let's see, the test roll round to the right.
Okay. Turn the corner.
Yeah, kind of
Yeah.
down in this here corner down in there,
Yeah.
off to the right in there.
Okay.
A couple test rolls in there.
All right.
That's where, I don't forget what the name, and then there was a aisle there and stuff, and then the big main final was right here.
Okay.
You
So
know.
you turned the corner, kind of went around,
Yeah.
went the opposite direction.
Yeah,
All
right.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you remember? Any kinds of happenings there at the Tornado plant that were perhaps interesting?
Yeah, I was kind of dumbfounded one day. I looked and got out through there, and here come one of the most passionate, pink-looking automobiles I ever saw in my life. Oh, it was a beauty.
Yeah.
It was a beauty. And I said, I wonder who's ordered that thing. It was Muhammad Ali.
Really? Isn't that interesting?
Yep. That's what they told me.
Uh-huh.
It was his.
Uh-huh.
I didn't see him come and pick it up,
No.
but I can tell you one thing, I seen the pink one going down the line.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And I don't think I had hallucinations.
Yeah,
I mean,
uh-huh.
it sure was sharp.
Yeah.
Of course, we started her in '66.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
and
Were you there when that started, Maynard?
yeah,
Pretty much?
I was over in the,
In the actual plant there?
yeah, they was running it before I went on it.
Okay. All right.
They were running
Yeah.
it. But I went over there, I guess they said they wanted me to get a running knowledge of what was going on.
Yeah. Yeah. You said you had the plating plant there. Did that plant have any, what I will call odd happenings in it that you can recall, or?
Well, I'll be perfectly honest with you, I don't know what the hell kept it running.
Really?
I mean, it had been there a long time.
Yeah.
Had done a good job of waiting when you took care of it right. But of course, it couldn't compete with the one over on Saginaw Street.
Yeah. Of course, that was a brand new one.
Oh yeah, that was a brand new one. But
Yeah.
they kept it right on running there, and they done their job over there.
And it would crank out good bumpers.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, golly, I don't know. One thing, I forget who it was, but somebody was out of there doing something on it and fell in a tank.
Oh no, that was the end
Yeah.
of him?
Yeah, but he wasn't, thank God there wasn't no solution wasn't in
Oh,
it.
it was empty, an empty
Yeah,
tank?
it was, had the water in it.
Yeah.
Had water in it. Gee Christ, that'd be, you don't want to get in one of them other ones.
No.
But that's just an old, and we had, well, have you ever heard of old Sam Parhat?
Sure.
Yeah.
I knew Sam.
Yeah, his daddy worked in there in the old axle plant.
Yeah.
Had on production down in there doing
Yeah.
something, buffing or something. And he liked to get them old blades that they had, cut metal, them big bandsaw.
Bandsaw blade?
Yeah. He liked to make homemade knives.
Oh.
Yeah, he'd work his butt off and he'd make a bunch of homemade. I got 3 or 4 here.
Out of those bandsaw blades?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Huh? And some of them aren't too sharp to look at, but by God, they're sharp.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, they cut.
Hold a good edge.
They hold a good edge. They're good. They're good old knife. Then he'd take that old plastic and he'd work a little on it, put a couple rivets in it and something.
Yeah.
You'd think sure as hell a kid had done them to look at. They didn't look like they were cutting knives.
Yeah. Yeah, we used to have a funny tank up there, didn't we? With it, we dipped things in and got a coating on, like a plastic coating. Was that up there? That was like you'd put the plating racks in them and get coating on them, and
well, it starts out, the cleansing on the steel,
yeah.
and then you get a nickel,
Okay.
and you get a copper,
All right.
and you buff it. You get all that up and stuff and all in down into there. You get a good steel bar, and you get your good nickel plating on it, and then you get a good copper plate on it, then you buff it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you run her through the chrome, and she'll come out. Then if you want to, yeah, you can put a plastic coating.
Uh-huh.
They plastic coated a lot of stuff,
Yeah.
but they used to have guys come in there. have that green stuff.
Yeah, that's the stuff I was thinking about. Yeah, that.
They come in there and they put it on and they make different things, handles and different things
Yeah.
and stuff. Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
A lot of racks. They
Yeah.
do a lot of racks, you know,
Uh-huh.
going around like that, and they'll dip this and cure them and take that stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Where did you, now after Tornado, where did you end up, Maynard?
Got over in the main final.
Okay.
Yeah, I went over there in the main final.
About when would that have been?
Oh, Lord.
After 66, obviously.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. It was, yeah, quite a while after that.
All right.
And I was over there. Oh,
Now, what were we making in the main car assembly plant at that time? 88s?
what were you making?
Yeah.
Well, you were making 88s, 98s.
And
See, we
Colossus?
well, yeah, see, we made them all.
All on that same line?
Yeah.
All right.
At that one time, you know, when you started,
Yeah.
hell, you had them all.
All right.
Now they got, hell, I don't know, I don't think they make a 98 anymore, do they?
Not there. We don't make anything.
In New Jersey or
Yeah,
something?
someplace else. Yeah.
Yeah. And
So
Cutlasses, they're over in the new building.
No, not anymore.
Not anymore?
No. No.
They eliminated that too.
Oh yeah. All we make in town is
Well, that's right, Pontiac.
Pontiac, Buick, and Oldsmobile end cars. That's all that's made there.
Ain't that something? I'll be damned.
Did we run all those cars down the same line then, Maynard, at that time when you were in the big car plant, the A's and the Cutlasses?
I'm just trying to think to make damn sure. The Tornado, of course, is by itself.
Right.
The 98 and the 88s. Jesus, I'm sure they did.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm sure they did.
Yeah.
I'm sure they did, because I can't think of another damn place where they run them Cutlasses, and I'm sure they run them down there.
Yeah. We were making.
When I first went over there, they were running them.
Okay.
They were running them. And yeah, I was there and two of them there, and then of course I went up into that 151,
The audit
150 audit area.
All right. What did you do up there?
Well, I had all the specifications and audit people.
All right.
Everything that I had up in there.
What were their jobs? What kinds of things did audit people have to do?
We went down on the line and grabbed the car.
All
And
right.
it came off final.
Yeah.
No certain one. If we needed to check, we just went and we grabbed that car. They didn't know which one we was going to
Yeah.
get. Took it up there and we went through it. And I mean, we went through it. And what we found on it went on a report.
Okay.
No BS.
This would be like things that weren't to specification.
That's right.
All right.
That's right. I had people down there on the line and stuff that checked every bolt, nut, everything that went into that automobile went through my group.
Mm-hmm.
And so we,
How often would you do that?
every day, hell, we went through, oh Lord. I'm just trying to think. I had 1, 2, 3, 4. I had 4 bays inside, 2 outside, 6. They went through the whole car, and I'm telling you, we didn't have a cert. We didn't do it to production. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you didn't have a set number.
That's right.
All
We went to this here car here. You could go down through it and look it over, and everything trim and parts and things and stuff on it. Fine. You could look it over, and
Yeah.
it's in good shape. You can tell it by when you inspect it.
Yeah.
Next one you get, hell, it might just be plumb junk. I mean, you just
all kinds of problems.
Right, all kinds of problems.
Uh-huh.
And there again, our problem was the fact that production would run short of a bolt or a nut, washer, or something.
Yeah.
And they knew that they were going to run short of it. They had already been told, and they should have followed up on it. And they would just start substituting
A different part.
anything that they could get a hold of, which is not acceptable.
Yeah.
That's not acceptable. And I shut the final assembly down twice.
You did.
Yes.
Mm.
Damn right I did. I didn't make any friends.
Yeah, I was going to say, somebody probably wasn't too happy about that.
No, they wasn't too happy about it. In fact, Bob Cook called me.
Oh, did it?
Bob Cook and I have known each other for years.
Mhm.
Bob Cook called me. And he said, what's the problem, Maynard? And I said, well, the problem is, I said, you got people down there, I said, that don't want to check into anything and see what is an acceptable part. They just want to grab, here's a bolt out here, it calls for a bolt, we'll say an inch long,
Yeah.
it's a 1/4 inch with a nut and washer.
Yeah.
All right, so they, out of this one, the test hardness on it, they don't give a shit. That's in material.
Yeah.
So they find a keg full of ones that are 1.25 inches long, 1/4 of an inch two,
Yeah.
and it's got nuts but no washers.
Mm-hmm.
See, put it on. See, well, hell, my people find it. The guy down in the line down through there, checking that stuff, he ain't gonna find it. It's pretty near an impossibility to find a little thing like that in a mass-produced car that's going down the line on you.
Unless you're looking for it.
That's right. If you're looking for it, then you'll get it.
Yep.
But if you don't know it, there's hundreds of them. I've had churches over there, driveways, stuff like I've had their lots full, tied up, wouldn't let them ship. But like I said, I didn't make friends.
Yeah. Well,
But that's neither here nor there. I had done my damn job.
that's the task, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was my job, and that's what I done.
But they always fixed those, didn't they? They would always fix that.
Oh yeah. Oh hell yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, material handling 9 times out of 10 was at fault. You know, if we get around but yet the production supervisor knew the short of stock. He should tell his boss, his general foreman, look,
Right.
I'm damn short. Now then, he shouldn't have to worry about that anymore.
No.
The general foreman should say, hey, material handling, I need such and such a stock over here, and by God, I want it within 2 hours. They got the stock.
Yeah.
They've got it. Very, very, very seldom does Oldsmobile run out of a part that they need. They have got it somewhere. It's just that they don't want to get off of their butt and go get it. Or, like some of them are, they get involved in other things like watching the girls or something, and,
Yeah.
you know, it's just one of them things.
Was your audit area, Maynard, in the basement of Building 150? Down in the basement there.
Yep,
Okay.
yep. Yep, down in the basement, 150, and we had, we started to put all the history cards in computers, stuff down in there. I had my people started that too. We took all
So you had that little room down there where you
Yep.
stored all the cards?
Yep, and then we took all that and we put them all over, put all that information over the main plant too,
Yeah.
and that's what started that. I've been involved in quite a few interesting
Sure.
things in the shop, really.
Do you remember what audit kind of numbers you used to be getting?
Oh, Jesus. Boy, you mean it per day?
No,
Or
like,
per-
were cars 110 or 100?
Oh, Lord,
or 140?
oh, Lord, oh, Lord. Oh, God, I wouldn't even want to venture a guess.
All right.
I wouldn't want to even venture a guess on it, Jim.
All right.
It's,
Perfect car was 145 or something. Was that a perfect car? Do you remember?
well, if I remember right, I think we had a dual standard.
Oh, all right.
We had fellows, you know, that went around BOP plants.
Yeah, to all the other assembly plants?
And the other
Yeah.
assembly plants and
Yeah.
checked our cars
Yeah.
and they see how they done them and things like that. Well, they have a certain thing that they try to maintain.
Yeah.
And I know that they try to do the very best they can, but I know a lot of times they let stuff go that they ought to have been just a little tighter on. And but
You ever remember seeing what you would call a perfect car there at the audit? Didn't have a thing wrong that you could find wrong with it?
yep,
So we could do it.
yes, we could do it.
Yep.
Yes. And I'll tell you where it run. The cars that we found mostly like that come the closest to us, and that's a plain 88.
Mm-hmm.
Plain 88 four-door.
Yeah. Without a lot of garbage on it.
Yeah, without a lot of garbage, just a nice, the necessities of what's needed onto it, and a nice car.
Yeah.
They are a nice car. Of course, I lean towards the big ones. I like a big car.
That's why we sell all different kinds of cars.
That's right. That's why that young man that I just sold my Coronado to, I just sold it to this guy in the second house right there. He's got it sitting in front of his motorhome up there. He just got it yesterday. Jeez. I don't know.
When did you retire, Maynard?
When?
Yeah.
75.
75.
1975.
All right.
Yep.
Were you still in the audit department?
Yep.
So you stayed there until you retired?
I would stay there. Well, I had some heel tendons. There was severed.
Oh.
And I had bad, and that happened at the shop.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, and they pissed around with it and stuff, and put me on crutches, and hell, you can't go to work on crutches, and I complained about that, and I said, what the hell is it, you know? You can't do these things like this. And anyway, and so finally the tendon just snapped in two.
Oh, gracious.
So then I had to go under surgery and have that all put back together again and stuff, and one thing led to another. And so 1973 was the last that I worked.
Oh, was it?
Yes.
Uh-huh. So you were off from there until you retired?
Yep.
Yep.
They asked me, they said, well, you know, you've got seniority, and we've certainly got job for you,
Yeah.
stuff like that, you know.
Yeah.
But we also, have you ever thought about retiring? And I said, no, but I said, I'll sure give her some damn thought, but I said, one thing about it, when I retire, it's going to be with my full benefits.
Yeah.
I'm not taking no cuts, no nothing, and things like that. I said, well, let us talk to Detroit.
Yeah.
Hell, in 2 days he came back, he said, give him his benefits. He sure as hell earned them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, whatever. I think they really wanted to get rid of me. Probably, you know.
Well, it was one of those, that was during that time when we were having the energy crunch and all that.
Yeah, that stuff was going, 74 was a bad year. You know. Yeah.
Sure was.
Stuff, and it didn't really, but I hadn't thought anything about it, but I didn't owe nobody any money,
Yeah.
you know, nothing like that.
Who was your boss when you left, Maynard? Do you remember?
When I left, my boss was Dale Redburn.
Okay. What kind of a guy was Dale?
Dale was all right. Dale was, well, I'll tell you what Dale done, and more power to him. Dale got in the right place at the right time, and then he had the smarts enough to say, hey, I'm going to take me a little night school. See? And that's what he done, and that's fine. I see nothing at all wrong with what Dale Redburn done. There's one other, do you know Tom Police?
Yes.
Good friend of yours?
Oh, he's not a personal friend, but I knew him quite well.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Tom Police and I worked together as foreman. for quite a while.
All right.
And did you remember Barry Sadler? From the
Yeah.
old final assembly?
Yeah.
Barry?
Yeah. Oh no, Buell Sadler was the guy I knew, who was a plating guy over at Plant 3.
Yeah, Plant 3. Now that's
a
different
different one.
Barry Sadler
Yeah,
was.
different.
He was head honcho of inspection in the final assembly for
All right.
years.
All right.
And I heard him one day tell Tom Police, he said, if it wasn't for your GM tech training and stuff like that, he said, I'd put your ass out the door so quick. He said, you'd never know you'd ever worked here. And yet today, I guess Tom Police made superintendent or something.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
What was Tom doing? Why was he mad at Tom?
well, I'm not gonna.
Okay. Don't.
You know, I don't. I'm not gonna.
Yeah. Don't.
You know, there's a whole lot of things.
Yeah.
You can go down to that shop and you can delve around, and there's lots of people that know me.
Oh yeah.
Lots of people. And you can hear all kinds of stories.
Mhm.
You'll hear all kinds of them. There's no doubt that you can hear just about any damn thing that you'd probably want to imagine. And some of it's true, you know? And a whole bunch of it is just plain bull,
Yeah.
you know? But that's
the way it is.
that's just exactly the way that it is. And I just don't. There's fellows that I ended up that I had to work with.
Sure. You like it or not.
Like it or not.
Yeah.
They're not personal friends of mine.
No, they're
I
part of
don't
the.
give a shit if I never see them again.
Yeah, but they were part of the plan.
They were part of this plant, part of the job, and I got along with them.
Yeah.
But I mean, other than that, I just left them alone.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the way it is, and that's the way I'd want anybody to treat me. If they don't,
Sure.
if they don't like me, to hell with it. Let them, you know.
Hey Maynard, over all those years, what do you think was the most interesting job you had?
The most interesting job that I had. Boy, I've had some real good ones. I've had some interesting ones. Most interesting. Well, I've always been quite a hand. I like to get involved in my job. And I mean, if I got people doing it, I may want to make damn sure that I can do it too. You know, and I've stayed between shifts and stuff just to learn a job for my own benefit.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay. Anyway, back to the interesting
well, I'll tell
job.
you, it's hard to say because each and every one of them that I came up and came through them
Yeah.
and on up presented their own challenge.
Yes.
You know,
Sure.
I mean, it was there. But I really, the quality control part of that thing, starting that out,
Yeah.
and getting some of the boys from college that was working there at night shifts and stuff like that involved in it,
Yeah.
and things like that there. I really took to that, and this troubleshooting,
Okay.
you know,
Yeah.
you know, you wasn't tied to one area,
Yes.
but hell, by the same token, my jobs, I never had a job that I hated.
Okay.
I just didn't have a job that I hated. I had to work.
Sure.
I had to work. I went to work. I went to work for the idea, well, this is the day to work, and I went to work. Well, and that's the way that I went. And I mean, yeah, like it or not, what the...
How about who was the best boss you had?
Boy, I'll tell you, by God, I've had some good ones, but I'll tell you, oh man, I'd say Lou Booze,
Okay.
Jim Kimball.
How come?
How come?
Yeah.
Well, to start out with, that's Lou Booze right there.
Okay.
That's Lou Booze. And that's damn.
Lou Booze is on the right and you're in the bed, huh?
Yeah, he's on the right.
Okay.
Lou Booze, he's right there on the right in there.
Who's the guy in the middle there?
Pardon?
Who is the man in the middle?
Art Homestead.
Art Olmsted, all
Yeah.
right.
Art Homestead, and he's super,
Mm-hmm.
and he's all right too. He's all
Booze
right.
was your boss?
Yeah, he's my general foreman. Yep.
All right.
Yep.
And what was Olmsted?
Homestead, he's a superintendent.
All right.
He's a super.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, they're good. They're good men.
Yeah.
And here's when Lou retired. That's Lou right there. That's his retirement stuff. And here, I'm back here.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm back here.
Yeah.
And then we just stayed over and stuff. And
And you gave Lou a motor. Somebody.
yeah, we gave him a motor and stuff like that there. And at this here time here when he retired here, I was an hourly foreman at this time.
Okay. Where was this picture taken?
It was taken right out there in the right out in front of the old rocket engine plant.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Right in front of the plant.
Yeah, right out there.
All right.
Right in front of the plant there.
And who are all these guys? I mean,
Well, my God Almighty!
they were part of the plant there.
Oh
They were all
yeah,
plant
here's
guys?
Harold Houghton.
Oh yes, I remember Harold Houghton.
Houghton.
Yeah.
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 And there's old.
Oh God, yeah. What's that
goddamn,
guy's
what the
name?
hell's his name? He's a. Oh, here's Webb.
Okay.
Freddie Webb.
Yeah. On the
Yeah.
far right is
Yeah,
Freddie Webb.
far right. And this little guy's name was Olson. Here's Art Possum.
Okay.
Orville Schwartz. He was a supervisor.
Okay, with
And
the
he-
coat on the front.
Yeah, and he got in.
The guy with the bow tie.
Yeah, that's. Oh, he made super too. I can't
Okay.
think what the hell.
Hey, that looks like Ray Federer standing.
That
there.
is Ray Federer.
Uh-huh.
Ray Federer. He was also my super at one time.
All right.
Yeah, Ray Federer.
Yeah.
In fact, Ray. Here, Ken Gothrow.
Okay. Yeah.
Ken Gothrow, and this is Ted. Eubanks.
Ted Eubanks is the guy with the tie handing this
Right
guy
here,
with,
yep.
with the plaque.
Right,
Uh-huh. All
right. And this little Max guy who.
Okay, looking up sideways.
Yeah, I can't think of what the hell his name is now. And this is that back here with old Hilda Christensen. She had been there for years, and
The
she
gal in
died.
the back with the hat on.
Yeah,
huh?
she's died
Uh-huh.
now.
When was it? Does this have a date on
I
it?
don't know.
Oh, it doesn't.
No, I could look it up into something, but anyway.
Yeah.
Little Jimmy O'Berry, I don't know if he's still around or not.
Plaid shirt. Okay.
Yeah. He used to play mandolin in my band.
You had a band?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I monkeyed around, thought I could play guitar and 5-string banjo, you know. That's
Okay, well that's an interesting bunch of folks there.
there's a whole bunch of them guys.
Yeah.
I could think of all their damn names eventually if I could.
Yeah. Well, when
He
you
is a production general foreman.
that guy there?
Yeah, he was. I don't know what he is now, but
Okay.
he was in the motor plant,
Mm-hmm.
rocket engine.
Yep. Well, that's interesting, Maynard. What?
But Lou Booze is, well, I don't know. He's the guy said to me, he said, you know, he says, how the hell come you can make damn jobs look so easy? And I said, well, I ain't found a hard one, you know.
So you like?
Well, he said, I'll tell you one thing. And so they came down to me, Jimmy Kimball. Now, he'd been dead for a number of years,
Yeah.
but he was my supervisor. He came down to me, and I had another guy, the hell was his name? I got him, and I'd been friends and worked together for years. And he came over to the rocket engine plant, probably 2 or 3 weeks after I did.
Mm-hmm.
And I got him started into there.
Okay.
And Jim said to me, he says, you know, he said, I've got to have a relief man. He said, we're going to start getting more people in here. And I had already been breaking some people in on different jobs and stuff like that. And he said, I'm thinking about you, either you or Well, Hunt, I can't think of his name anyway. He said, and what do you think of that? And I said, Jim, you're the supervisor. I said, who you make a relief man? I said, if there's no difference in pay or nothing like that, I said, I would think if there is any difference in it, the man with the seniority ought to get a little bit of the preference if you got it, whatever it is. I don't know what the seniority, I forget what his was anyway. But anyway, I said, well, you do whatever you want to. I said, if you're not sure enough that you want me, I said, then get somebody else. But perfectly all right with me. He said, well, he said, that's a good attitude. He said, I knew you'd be that way, Maynard. He said, yeah, no, wasn't a problem, but I just wanted to tell you that I was just you two guys that I know, because I had got Hunt started and stuff, and he was breaking in people too. And that's exactly the way I felt about it. So we went at it, and pretty soon I don't know what, this was in the morning. And it had just after dinner. And Lou and Jim come walking down the aisle, and they stopped out there for me, and I was working on a hydraulic valve lifter job, fitting, you know, in the blocks and, and putting them in. And that's an inspection job, checking them to see if they're right. And I was doing that, and I had a lady there that I was breaking in. A woman was breaking in on it. And very soon, Jim, I heard somebody said, can she handle that job in? And I looked up, and it was Lou. I said, yeah. I said, well, you got some troubles? He said, no, not really. He said, Jim wants to see you. I said, oh, I looked, and Jim was sitting out there in the aisle. So I said, okay. I told her, I said, well, I said, you just stay here a minute. I said, I'll be right back. So I went out there, and Jim says, well, he said, we've decided, he said, we want you to start out tomorrow morning. You just take time this afternoon if you can get straightened around and take the employees that we got, set it out, and you start out for the relief man and to see that everybody gets their relief and so on and so forth. And I'm going to be going on vacation and so on and so forth in a couple of weeks, and you'll be running the department and all this shit. And I said, Jim, I said, yeah. I said, are you sure? He said, you know damn well I'm sure. I wouldn't be saying it. He said, you know what's kind of down through that. Yeah. Lou said, he's sure. So, I mean, that's, but I mean, but I work for Orville Schwartz and with him. And Ted, here, I've worked for him. Harold Holton, yeah. I've worked for him, and I've replaced all of them, their departments and stuff in the same area. They're all in the areas, and I worked with them. And thing I never could quite understand. I kept, guys. I wish to hell I could get a raise, I've been such and such and such and such guy. I said, whoa, whatever you make, that's your business. That's not mine. I said, I know it, but that's your. And I'll bet by Jesus. He said, I'll bet by Jesus. I said that this man had been on quite a while, too. And he said, I'll bet by Jesus you're making more money than I am. I said, well, I don't know. But I'll tell you right here and now, and it can go on record, I never had to ask my foreman or anyone else for a raise.
Right.
I got them. When I was eligible for the first sucker that came through, I got it. I went right up, and I was at the top of every one of my brackets that I went in. And when I went out of there, I was making more money than most of the general foremen. I mean, I know that I was, because I'd had some of them working for me.
Sure.
But anyway, that's, and when you reflect back on that, that's a kind of a good feeling. But General Motors was good to me.
Yep.
They were good to me. They understood, but they knew damn well that if at all possible, I would be there. I never fluffed off on them. And by the same token, my mother, she worked for him one time while I was gone in service. And she worked over there in plant trees over there someplace in the shelves or something, some damn thing.
Yeah.
I don't know what she done. Boy, she said, I don't know, but Mama was a good worker too. Somebody broke, I don't know whether it's my brother, he was right back from here.
Oh,
Yeah. And anyway, he said, I don't know whether, hell, he said, she worked for me, he said, I'd probably have to be fired or so on. And I said, don't have to do that. But I told her, I said, well, I said, then there's no way, if my mother worked for me and she'd done something wrong, I definitely would tell her.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't be mean and nasty and shitty to her, but I'd tell her that she's wrong.
That's part of the job.
That it's got to be corrected. It's got to be taken care of. And if that didn't do it, then I'd make the next step. I would transfer her. I'd say, she's my mother, I just don't want her working for me. You know, we'll do a thing because we're going to be trouble in the family.
Right.
But never came to nothing like that, so. Other than that, why?
Well, that's great, Maynard. Sounds like you had a pretty good career there.
Well, yeah, I think so. I tell you, when I retired, I don't have a hell of a lot. I got that farm up there, but I'm not selling the farm. I'm giving it to the kids.
Yeah.
And I'm writing it off on my income tax.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, as you go. Yeah.
That's the way I'm doing it.
Yeah.
But, you know, Jim, you look around and think different things. And when I want a new car, I buy it. Things like that. And I just got married again a year ago. And she's a fine lady. She'd been a widow woman, you know.
Sure.
From down here. Hell, I just met her up in the store. She run a jewelry department. But I said, well, I guess what'll be will be, and so on and so forth, and let it go at that. And I go up home. If I pull in up there, I can got an area right out there where I can hook right into 50-watt fuel service, water, septic tank drain, the whole thing hooked right up.
Yeah, got your motor home running.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's another thing that I done that other than couldn't do. I went and bought a brand spanking new motor home last year, December of '87 and '88. I paid cash for the son of a bitch. I mean, I don't owe nobody no money on it. And that sounds like a little boasting, and maybe it is. Anyway, I don't know. Other than that, I ain't got nothing, but I don't owe nobody no money on nothing.
Well, that's excellent, Maynard. That's great.
You can't be retired, no. You can't really be retired and owe bills and stuff, things like that.
Right.
And I go to Michigan every spring. I go up there and go from there right on up into Canada. But this time I don't think I'm going to Canada. I'm going on up to where I bought that property on the trout stream. God, that's one of my weaknesses, trout fishing. And I got a chance to get on the Gilcrest Creek.
Okay.
Up there by Lewiston.
Oh, yes.
And it's a Blue Ribbon National Trout Stream.
Oh, great.
Rated a Blue Ribbon.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
There's German brown in their schools of that long, that deep through, and that thick.
Oh, yeah.
And rainbows, same size.
Yeah, great.
Oh, no brooks.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of rainbows, a lot of German browns in there. I haven't done anything. It took me about 4 months to get this property. But I moved a mobile home up on it. I've got a septic tank and electricity, and I got to put a well down. I got a mobile home moved in up on it. We get straightened around there, and I'll probably build something. But you know, Michigan gave me They give me a lot of trouble on my taxes. I don't know
Well,
why.
they do, yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know why they did. I never cheated them out of anything or anything like that. And it's just a bunch of BS. So I said, well, to hell with it. When I retired, I took everything. I said, I'm in Florida. That's it.
Get rid of it.
Yep.
Well, Maynard, do you think that pretty well covers the waterfront?
Well, probably for whatever it's worth.
Oh, I think that's great.
I don't know.
I'm going to shut that off.